Hi guys, this is Pete and this is Man United point of view on Man United's up and coming derby match against Man City. Obviously the big one, the game that we look most forward to but also look towards with a bit of fear lately with how good City have been. Before we jump into this match preview, we're just going to have a word from our sponsors. So today's video is sponsored by the guys over at Ball Tactics. Check out their website for match previews and reviews with some tongue-in-cheek humour and a great insight into the game. The link is in the video description below. Check them out, guys. They point out some really good stuff. So in today's match preview, we're going to go into my thoughts on the game. We're going to talk about the my predicted 11 I've put out there on Twitter, and then we're also going to go into a few comments and tweets that I got on that starting 11 that I put out there. So obviously my thoughts on the game. Obviously one of our biggest games of the season. If we can get a win here and then a win when we play Arsenal in the league, beat Palace, beat Arsenal, and I honestly think we put ourselves into a bit of an outside chance of a title race. Obviously City are top team, tough challenge, but City's last couple of performances haven't been great, and United are obviously starting to find form and are starting to get into the groove of things, and we're starting to see the Ten Hag way at United. So it gives me confidence that we can get a result. Obviously we're playing at home, and I think it's a big positive that we're in front of our own fans and we're going to be hungry for a result. Obviously this United team under Ten Hag's got a lot of fight and a lot of mettle, and it's something that we've lacked recently in our other fixtures against City. So I honestly think that we might really have a chance in this game. Obviously we've just got brought Weghorst in on loan. Obviously we're waiting to see whether he's going to be registered in time for the game, whether he can play a part. Honestly, I don't think we're going to see him start the game. I could be wrong, but I honestly don't think we're going to see Weghorst start the game. But I think we might see him as a sub, and he's a good change to bring on. Obviously, he can change the way that we play with, how big he is, how good he is at holding up the ball. So obviously, if it's a tight game or, we're a goal down or just a goal up, he might be a really good change to bring on. So I'm interested to see if he gets registered in time and obviously what effect he can have on the game. I think the key battle is obviously midfield, always is. Whoever wins the midfield battle normally wins the game. And it's going to be interesting to see how Ten Hag goes in midfield. Obviously, for me, I think he's going to go for Casemiro, Eriksen and Fernandes. But a few people out on Twitter today have been touting Fred as a possible replacement for Eriksen, saying that obviously he's a bit more defensive minded and he does give us a lot of energy in midfield. And I do think if Ten Hag goes that way, I won't be disappointed. Obviously, I think Eriksen should start because I think he's the key to unlocking midfield, like unlocking City's defence, and obviously he's a really good passer of the ball. But I can see. I do understand people's opinion on why Fred might be the better choice. So that's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, defensively, we're going to have to be really good. Obviously, we're going to be up against Erling Haaland, who is he's a B-Tech workhorse. Let's not lie. I'm joking. Obviously, he's a world-class striker, and I think he's going to. Hopefully we can keep him quiet. Martinez has kept him quiet before, but obviously in the last game in the league, where City beat us 6-3, obviously Martinez did struggle a little bit with Haaland's physicality, but we'll have to see how that battle goes. Obviously Varane next to him is quite a big strong boy, so hopefully Varane can help Martinez out in that battle. But obviously I think that key battles are going to be the centre of defence and the centre of midfield. Obviously, we need our fullbacks to be pushing on, and it's going to be interesting to see whether it's going to be Wan-Bissaka or Dalot, because I know Dalot came off injured with a slight knock the other day, so it'll be interesting to see whether he's fit, because obviously if Delo's fit you start Delo, but I've got like reservations whether he's going to be fit. And obviously on the other side we've got Shawberto, who he's been in superb form, and at left back and at centre back he's played really well lately, so it's going to be obviously interesting to see how we do. Hopefully we're going to push our fullbacks high, which means their fullbacks can't attack as much. Obviously make them defend rather than us doing all the defending, but we'll have to see how that goes, because City are a team that do like to dominate possession, so it'll be interesting to see whether United choose to sit back and go on the counter, or whether we try and play the football that Ten Hag wants us to play, which is possession based and obviously in control of the game. And obviously up front we do have the speed to hurt City on the counter. Obviously if we play Rashford, who's rapid, Martial's got a turn of pace to him, Anthony's pretty fast, and obviously even our backup options, if we play Garnacho, he's still pretty rapid and can put the fullbacks on the back foot, so it'll be interesting to see the way we go. So obviously the key to winning is I hope us keeping a clean sheet and then scoring a few goals, but we'll see how the game goes, because in the last game against City we did obviously get embarrassed a little bit. So now we're going to go into my predicted starting 11. So in net I've gone for De Gea. Obviously I think he's the obvious choice. Tom Heaton actually gave a really good performance in the game in the Carabao Cup, but I don't think he's done enough to take De Gea out of the number one spot. Obviously De Gea made a mistake in the last game that he played against Everton, but we've got to forgive and forget and let bygones be bygones, because he's been really good for us this season. So I think De Gea starts. Then at right back, in my predicted 11, I've gone for Wan-Bissaka. Just I'm not sure on Delo's fitness, and Wan-Bissaka has played very well, and I think Wan-Bissaka offers us just a tiny bit more defensively. And obviously if City do have a lot of possession and we're going to defend a lot, then Wan-Bissaka's more solid and more obvious choice. But obviously we know how much Ten Hag likes Delo, and Delo has looked good since he's come back from the World Cup. Since he came back from injury, he looked good, but then he just went off with that little bit of concern in the Carabao Cup, so we'll have to see how that goes. For me, that's the reason why I've put Wan-Bissaka in. I just think that Delo might not be risked, but obviously it's a big game and Ten Hag might risk him. But on the subject of Wan-Bissaka, I think he's really improved the way he's been playing going forward, and obviously still defensively strong. So if he does start, I do have confidence that he can do a good job. Then we move to right centre back. I've gone for Varane. I think it's obvious that Varane's going to start. Maguire had a okay game the other day, but I don't think he's done his case to be starting games any good. He was okay. He was average against Charlton, and I don't think he's forced his way into the team. Obviously, Varane's a superstar for us in that back line. He's a great leader, very vocal, and I think we'll need that against City. So that's why I've gone for Varane. Then next one I've gone for Martinez. Did look a little bit rusty the other night against Charlton in the Carabao Cup, but obviously, understandably, he'd not played since he won the World Cup, and I think he, like all the Argentinians, might have partied a little bit hard. So obviously I think he was just getting a bit of that ring rust out of him, but I expect him to start and put in a good performance. Martinez has that bit of steel and drags the team forward even when we're playing bad. So obviously I like to see him in the team, and I do think he'll start. At left back, then I've gone for Luke Shaw. I think obviously on current form, Shaw has to be starting. Malacia didn't do bad in the last game against Charlton, but yet again, Shaw's form overall in the season has been superb, and I think he's a guaranteed starter when he's fit, and obviously he's not playing at centre back. Then moving into the midfield, I've gone for Casemiro in the holding role. Obviously he's been superb in every game that I've seen him play now. other than maybe the first 2 substitute appearances he had at the start of his United career, I think he's been absolutely superb now. The way he uses the ball is immense. Obviously, the goal he set up the other day for Rashford was a worldie pass, and there was a couple more worldie passes in that little cameo against Charlton. So, the guy's outrageous, and he obviously, not being at Madrid now, obviously he's proving people that he's not just a steady Eddie, that he can play with a ball. He doesn't just have to give it to a to a Cruz and Modric type. He can use the ball himself, and he's been superb. So yeah, he starts for me. I think he's an obvious starter every time he's fit. Then next, we move into the slightly more attacking of our centre midfielders. I've gone for Eriksen. Obviously, like I said before, I've had a few people suggest Fred to me, and I do agree that Eriksen's not as good as defensively, but he offers us more going forward, obviously, than Fred. He's a player that can help us control the game. He can pick a killer pass. He's very good at using the ball. So that's for me why I'd go for it. Sorry, big on it is a little bit late. That's why I'd go for Eriksen. Then moving into the number 10 role, obviously it has to be Fernandes. Obviously he's back. He was suspended the other night, and Mainu got his chance, but obviously I don't think he grabbed that chance by 2 hands. He's only a young kid, and I don't think he would have ever started against City anyway. So obviously Fernandes comes back in. He's that risk taker. He's that guy that can make something happen, and we need that against City, and we need him to be on form. I'm hoping for a big performance from Bruno. He has been looking a little bit better lately, and I just hope now that he can maybe bag a goal, get a couple of assists. We'll have to see what happens. Moving out to the right hand side, I would go for Anthony. Obviously, he scored in his last 2 games. He's not blew the world away with his performances, but cutting inside on that left foot, he's got a wonderful left foot, and he's scoring goals. So I'd keep him in the team. Then on the left hand side, I've gone for Rashford. Obviously, first name on the team sheet at the moment. He's in great form, scoring goals. Just looks a different player to the last 2 seasons. He's absolutely on fire, and I think you just need to keep on picking him, and he'll score your goals and he'll win your games. Now moving into the centre forward position, and I've gone for Martial. Obviously, I'm not sure whether Weghorst is going to be registered in time, and even if he is, I'd still think that he's only going to maybe come on as a sub. I don't think he's going to start. I think obviously Ten Hag likes Martial as a player, and Martial does a lot of things well. His link-up play is really good. He just needs to find his shooting boots. He's been a bit off the boil with his shooting lately, and obviously I hope he finds his shooting boots and scores a couple of goals. Yeah, so that's my starting 11. Before I move on to you guys' comments, I'm just going to do my score prediction. I actually think United are going to have a really good game. If City play anything like they did against Southampton, they look really lacklustre. I think we'll beat them quite comfortably. Obviously, I don't expect them to play like that. I think Pep will have got in their ear and they'll be much more prepared to play a better game. But I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to United. Might be a little bit ambitious and might be made to look foolish, but I'm going to go for a very convincing 3-0 win. I honestly think in the form we're in that we can beat any team. We just have to get our game plan right and hope that our striker fires, and I think we could be in for a really good game. So that's my score prediction. Obviously, if you're watching, drop your score predictions down in the comments, and obviously your thoughts on the video and stuff. So now we're going to go on to a couple of tweets that I got in on my tweet, obviously about my starting lineup and obviously your thoughts on the game. So the first one was from Mr. Craigmore1, and he said, good lineup. Dalot starts if he's fit though. I think Dalot's attacking threat is going to be needed, to be honest. City's wingers don't tend to run in behind a lot, so I don't think Wan-Bissaka's defensive ability is going to be a necessity. In terms of Dalot's fitness, I think it was precautionary. he seemed to be moving okay. Which obviously, if Delo's fit, I do think he starts, but I'm just unsure on his fitness, and obviously because I've done it before the press conference tomorrow, it's just me presuming he's not going to be fit. So the next tweet that I got in was from @CFC_enthusiast. Chelsea fan, I'm sure he'll be happy with the result tonight, and João Felix's superb debut. As a part put out there on Twitter, obviously he picked the wrong red. So @CFC_enthusiast said, Eriksen cannot start again for fuck's sake. You lot need to go on the counter, not control the game. Obviously there is a few people that have suggested maybe Fred, and that might be the thing that Ten Hag does, but I think we need to have control of that midfield. I think that's where games are won and lost. And obviously I think Ten Hag's the type of manager that wants to have the better team in the game. I don't think he wants to, sit back and have 25-30% possession. That's not the way he wants us to play, and I think that we will try to dominate that midfield. So the next comment was from @FlexibleAnthony, and he said, spot on, Pete. I think Fred might have a nick over Eriksen though, but we'll see about that on Saturday. Obviously that's it, it's all guesswork. We just have to wait for that team news to come out, but obviously this is just my educated guess. And then the next tweet was from @SamuelOdaba76, and he said, perfect, and I believe this is the exact starting 11 that we will see on Saturday. It's nice to have someone agree with me. And obviously this is what I think at the moment is our strongest team. Obviously I've not seen Weghorst play for us yet, and that might change obviously with him coming in from RCL, but we're going to have to see.